So Dynamite. It's Dynamite.
Mixed division. So the first match of the night was going to be Ortiz, and then he would face off against Santana for the next week. All because he punctured him in the eye with the car keys he got as a gift from Jericho, practically took after he did not comply and joined the inner circle. Decent match. There was a Samoan drop, decent missile drop kick, a forearm superplex, basic near falls. Then it just came into a counter from the top into a double hook DDT. Basic win. Basic way to make sure that there's a one up for Moxley before he leaves. And then he's like, okay. Didn't mind the match. Just thought it'd be a bit more exciting. Next up, SCU faced off against the best friends with the most over guy in the match. Not even appearing in the match. It was Orange Cassidy. I had a friend of mine from my own school. He had a picture involving Orange Cassidy with some of the rest of the friends I know. Assholes, but still good for them. Had a pretty decent one-on-one affair, just sticking with the veteran factor. The only thing that pissed me off for most of this matchup was the difficulty for Jim Ross to call Scorpio Sky, and confused them for Too Cool Scorpio. That's right. No, it's not. But it's simple, basic mistakes that I've been hearing these go on, and it's a rarity that we hear Jim Ross make these minuscule, slight mishaps that ruin the flow and makes a wrestling fan either agitated, confused, or just pissed off. For me, all of the above, because I've been listening to Jim Ross since 2004. So I am obviously a high, like he deserves anything he gets, but still, I have a high like expectation for Jim Ross's commentary. It can come to highly optimistic, detailed, great discussions, into just being what's a peanut butter cup, and it completely makes the sequence of the show awkward. But this match was fine. There was even a double tope suicida on Trent and Chuck Taylor. And as soon as everybody was down. Orange Cassidy went down, laying down and chilling with most of the crowd. There was a German suplex from the top, of flipping neck breaker from the floor. I think that was from Chuck Taylor. He continues to do that type of move, a swinging DDT with the assistance of Scorpio Sky from Kazarian. And it was a decent fake. I didn't really care because this was like one of the 3 tag team matches of the night by Chuck Taylor. Whatever, it ends up with SCU picking up the victory. And then the Dark Order came around. The Momentum Killer. That's what they call their finisher, the Momentum Killer. Still, decent match. All right, fast pace. The crowd got a bit excited. I thought the SCU and other than a rhyme and reason, other than ranking stability, I still think there should be more into personal feuding in in AEW. But other than that, it was a basic match opener, and then we continue with Christopher Daniels still feuding with the Dark Order, coming in, and then Evil Uno and Stu Grayson that bicycle kneed Orange Cassidy in the face when he was coming up, and the whole fans were like, "Oh." And his hands were in his pockets. The most over part of the night. Not when Trent and Chuck Taylor hug. That's gay. It's completely cringe. It's weird. It's completely awkward, and I don't get it. I watch these guys like Pro Wrestling Gorilla, and I have a close bond with my younger brother, and even I don't get that personal with them. Next up was Yuki Suzaki that we haven't seen since Fighter Fest, facing up against Britt Baker one-on-one, with her immediately denouncing the crowd that it's on TV. It doesn't matter if she's in the city. In a decent match. Alright, Sunset Flip. The most important part of the match was the ending, when literally she used the bottom rope and literally curb stomped her jaw in before she broke, I think, a couple of her teeth. It was a gruesome part of the show. Then she started doing her submission hold where she started gripping like it was an abdominal stretch while she's gripping the jaw. Decent heel work off Britt Baker. Obviously, they're trying to get a title match with her and Riho, but she's trying to build up as a super mass appeal. But Nyla Rose is still in the title picture. I just don't care. Next up, 8-man tag involving the Lucha Bros, Face Off, and the Butcher and Blade against the Elite. That's literally just the Young Bucks, Hangman Page. That should be his own singles role, and Kenny Omega. And after the tag team match, I'm just gonna say it was fine. It was a fine tag team match. Decent double Top Gun hello. There was, of course, that slingshot lariat that Hangman Page did. The Blade was holding his own against Kenny Omega. It was boring ground game with a bit of flippy dippy bullshit. I don't concern myself with this because it was interluding storylines just to give Hangman Page a singles role, even though he doesn't really fit the Elite, and we know he's trying to get himself into a single star. And the most awkward part of the day was still giving Omega and Hangman Page their own title reigns, even though they face off against SCU the next week. So I didn't concern me. I didn't care about the overly predictable uh, chemistry issue because you give the tag team belts to obviously two incredibly polar opposites. So it kind of makes sense. Then as soon as Kenny Omega was coming out for an interview, he comes around Pac backstage saying that he was going to threaten Riho. I don't really concern myself with the personal info because obviously I'm a WWE guy. I don't really know a lot of other than before AEW. So I didn't know if they had a past relationship or Kenny Omega just has better morality, has a big moral compass, and he didn't want anybody to lay hands on a woman. Pac gets his rematch one-on-one with Kenny Omega after, I think they had a match like 2 months ago. So I didn't know why he wasn't issued a rematch, even though he'd been having back and forth with Hangman Page all this time. Then Nyla Rose came down and powerbombed Riho on the table, still looking like a little Asian child that Kenny Omega inzaguried in the face years ago. Next up, big personal one-on-one matchup and practically the main event of the evening. Joey Janela faces off against Kip Sabian over this long 4-week feud over Penelope Ford trying to rub it in his face that she moved on to Kip Sabian super bad. And the last time we saw Kip Sabian, he got in a tough long match with Cody Rhodes and ended up losing. And now here he is against Joey Janela. Joey Janela won. No, I'm kidding, it was Kip Sabian coming up with a roll-up victory in a long, up-doubting match. There was much times over apron maneuvers. Penelope Forbes just slapping, just continuing to disrespect Joey Janela whenever Kip Sabian has him under the ropes. A basic sit-down powerbomb. It was just a basic match for a guy that's I've seen, at least in CZW, that he obviously has more longing, doubting matches than this, and they're more violent. Especially for a feud involving an ex-lover, you think something would be a bit more personal than just a basic one-on-one match. So I was just a bit underwhelmed. So yeah. So it was a basic schoolboy for a roll of victory. So obviously they want this match to continue. Obviously because they don't want a roll of victory to end something as personal as this. So maybe next week they're gonna get a rematch. We know what's gonna happen the next week. We're gonna get SCU getting a match. Maybe Jurassic Express gets a match next week. Santana faces off against John Moxley because of what happened to his eye. Kenny Omega faces off against Pac. And Riho, I think, faces off against Nyla Rose. I think that's pretty much the card for next week. The end of the show. MJF got attacked after the altercation with Cody. It was a riot. And he gets a face off against Wardlow in a steel cage match for the next week on Dynamite to face off against MJF at Revolution this February, I think 27th. Other than that, it was violent. Everybody was coming to witness a man just get whipped, basically humiliated to get whatever he wants. It was a fine babyface move, like just something like John Cena would have done. And he got whipped like more than 10 times, but it was an I quit match to a guy that just needed to deal with 10 coming from a normal man other than Wardlow that dished him the 9th one. Dustin came, the Elite came, Kenny came, his own wife came that I think has a heel faction, so that's kind of weird, but still moral support, babyface drive. MJF came failing. Arn Anderson was there as well. I didn't really care. It was basic, generic storylines to just show a malignant heel and build MJF as being the top heel. Even though for a guy like Cody is technically the owner of AEW, it doesn't really build this factor that Cody needs this win. Cody needs to face MJF, all because of what happened back at Full Gear of the last 2 months or so. So I practically did not have the most fun in this. I felt like this was an overly predictable mosh pit of stuff AEW wanted to do for storytelling, but I give them that. They're trying to build up for a pay-per-view, vitalizing feuds. I'm shocked they're not doing this with the women's division. I already hear news of them signing, trying to involve a women's tag division, even though I would like at least you get a mid-card belt. At least TNA did it. They had a TV title, X Division title, trademark belt, world title, tag titles, and the knockouts title. The tag titles go with the knockout titles, but at least one show. It's basic. They at least have one show for everybody to have notoriety. I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should make a mid-card belt first, and we'll build up to most of the women that barely have much screen time. We don't even know much of Brandy Rhodes' new faction, Statliner, the Riho that's not having that much promo time because, yet again, she's Japanese, and Nyla Rose that just sucks in general, and Britt Baker that continues to try to pull up this shoot heel work, trying to get herself controversial, but it's not really working out. In a tag division, that's okay, and that's a good wrestling, but fairly much storytelling than basic stuff that TNA does better. And Moxley just building himself to the belt, just facing up against guys from the inner circle. Basic obstacle over obstacle thing. But you got the message that Moxley's going to try everything he can to face off against Jericho for the world title. So it's just, I feel like this is basic, but this is only the first calendar year. It's going to just get better, bigger, and just make everything clear until then. So I'm only going to give them a 5 out of 10 for Dynamite this week. Be uploaded before Wednesday night when Dynamite and NXT air. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. That's technically all I got for today. And there's going to be more stuff involving WWE. Killer Cross went to NXT, so that's shocking for me. I thought that would be a major steal. I already heard rumors of Brian Cage coming to Dynamite, and I was shocked. Because they need more legit big guys. Because the only big dudes that they have on Dynamite well, not a dude. It's practically just not like Rose and Awesome Kong and Wardlow. They don't have that many big super heavyweights. So yeah, that's practically it coming from me. Thank you for watching. That's DST show for ya, and join the nation.